Here's a yellow buttercup spring flower. When I was a kid, they used to say that if you hold it under your chin and your chin's yellow, you like butter, which is ridiculous because everybody likes butter. But also, everybody has that yellow light reflect on their chin, except for me because I've got a beard. I can't do it that way. And if I hold it under my nose, it reflects yellow light onto my nose. And yes, I do indeed like butter. Here's what happens. The sunlight, which is basically white light, basically all frequencies of light, hits the buttercup. Buttercup absorbs everything except yellow, which reflects onto my nose and into my eyes and out into space. This white paper is white in the sun because of all of the white light of the sun is reflected. None of it is absorbed, or very little. And we can see that that white light of the sun is made up of different color frequencies because these different frequencies refract or bend differently when the light enters and exits this prism. So that white light is now separated out, you can see, into a rainbow. So that means that white light is actually a little more complex than what we thought. It's made up of multiple different frequencies of light.
Oh, hey. I was just watching some educational TV. You see, TV is produced with colors. It's made out of colors. Don't believe me? Let's take a look. We have got all these different colors on the screen. And it's not like they take white light and shoot it out. It's not like they take, I don't know, yellow light and all that. They take 3 different colors. Red, green, and blue, and you can sort of see these picture elements in the water that I just splattered on there. You can see that there's a little bit of red, a little bit of green, a little bit of blue. And by changing the balance of those things, they can produce any color. Here, by turning the red, green, and blue up as far as they can go, you get white light. Our eyes are fooled. When we come back, all the red, green, and blue and those little dots are so close together, our brain can't tell the difference between the different picture elements. So our brain combines red, green, and blue and says, oh, that's white. Okay, I got 3 colors. I'm going to show you additive colors. We got green, we got red, we got blue. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them through this just to focus it a little bit. And you can see when I put red light through this little lens, it looks red right down there, okay? If I put red and green together, you see the overlap is yellow. So red and green together make yellow. You have red light there and you have green light there at that spot, but our eyes interpret that as yellow. Then if I do red and blue, I get a color that's called magenta. It's kind of this light pinkish purple. Once again, red and blue light are both there. Those frequencies are there, but our eyes interpret those 2 frequencies together as this thing called magenta. And then finally we do blue and green. I shouldn't say finally. Then we do blue and green, and you see the intersection is called cyan when both blue and green light are there. Now this, when I add red, now I've got that whole additive color wheel. I've got blue, red, green. Where blue and green intersect, you got cyan. Over here, blue and red, magenta, blue and green, yellow. And when all 3 of them are there, our eyes see that as white. So you really just have 3 frequencies of light, red, green, blue in the middle. But our eyes can't really tell all of them together at the same time. So our eyes interpret that. I should say our brain interprets that as white light. So in a TV, if you've got different levels of red, green, and white in really, really small areas, red, green, and blue in really small areas, then you end up seeing any number of different colors depending on how bright each of those are. Any color in the spectrum, I should say any color that you can think of, you can create with just red, green, and blue. And the proof of that is on your TV.
Well, this is nice. We can get 4 new colors, cyan, magenta, yellow, white, out of red, green, and blue. But how do we get more complex colors? And the answer is by changing the levels of the red, green, and blue. So here's some pictures. I like spring, man. It's pretty. Look at all these pictures. Green and pink and purple and coral. And yeah, even brown's a color. So all these colors, all the colors that you see in any scene on any TV have to be produced by varying levels of red, green, and blue. And yeah, that dog's just going to keep licking. It's on a loop. So next thing we're going to look at is how you produce those colors with the varying levels. So this is the app you're going to be using on your exit question. And let's pretend that this is a red, green, and blue cone, red, green, and blue cones right in the back of your eye. So if you shine red light or red light reflects off something and hits your eye, that frequency, if it's a little bit hitting that cone, it's going to look like that. And there's nothing hitting the green and blue ones nearby, then it looks red to you. That's easy. Okay. So that just means the red cone is getting really excited, really, it's vibrating, it's feeling, it's sensing this red frequency light hitting it. Now, if some green light is added to it, you can't say, what does red and green look like? You can't look both red and green. So your brain says, I'm getting both of those frequencies. There's this weird interference pattern. And your brain says, we call that yellow. And then, if the blue cone gets fired up also, we see white. So really it's 3 different frequencies hitting the back of your eyeball at this one specific spot. If the green stops, you see magenta. So you're going to be playing around with these levels to see how different combinations, different levels of this red, green, and blue will look. And you can just click on that area to see where, to show what the level of that color is in each spot. Let's look at another aspect of this, color blindness. When you've got these cones in the back of your eyes that detect the different frequencies, sometimes they don't fire correctly, or sometimes your brain doesn't interpret them correctly, and that causes color blindness. It's an inability to tell the difference between colors. Hopefully you can see the 15 here in green. If you can't, you probably have one form of color blindness, which is actually pretty common, especially in men. This one tests for a different kind of color blindness, and you should be seeing a 12. This one, if you can't see the 14 in this one, you really need to see a doctor immediately. It's very dangerous. It may cause rabies. Just kidding. I edited it out. This is the real one, and you should see a 7.